Alright, welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. It is snowing like blister cakes outside, man. It's a great day to be in my basement playing through some chess videos, chess games, and making videos for you guys. This next game is by two world-class Grandmasters, Reddy and Tartakover. The shocking thing about this particular game is the speed at which it's won. Even the greatest, the Grandmasters, get clobbered speedily if they don't pay attention to details. So this is one of those fun games that when you play through it, you can't help but laugh and say, wow, that was awesome. It sucks to be on the receiving end of something like this, like Tartakover was, but it's fun to study so that we can keep it in mind, so that hopefully it eliminates a better chance of us not having to go through this. This is the Carl Kahn defense that Tartakover played. Classic opening with the center. Classic opening with fighting for the center. Center pawns. That's just one of the ways to play it. And of course the pawn takes the pawn and the knight takes the pawn. Now, at this point, and it's just barely the opening, you like white's position better. But why? For one thing, he has a minor piece that is developed on an absolutely beautiful central square. Now granted, he's not supported yet by pawns. He's got a pawn next to him, but all black has to show is one measly pawn, and all it's doing is hitting the d5 square. It's not really overwhelming in central influence. The radiating power of the knight is clear. I mean, this knight is just dominating that board at this point. Now, I understand it's just the opening, so it's Tartakover is up to the challenge because, of course, he immediately brings out his knight. And this brings the knight's influence into play also. So, you know, don't get all excited so fast. Now, look at what Reddy's doing. Already, he's bringing up the lady into this game. Because she's not exposed way out here on a flank somewhere and in the open, it's probably not a disaster that he's developing the queen so early. But really, truly, you want to develop your minor pieces. But this is Reddy, after all. He was one of the top 5 strongest players in his day back in the early to mid-1900s. So he can get away with stuff. And it's a good illustration. Now, notice what Tartakover is doing. Granted, it's another pawn move. We're still in the opening, right? It is a great central thrust down to e5. It does challenge and support the center. This is still supporting the center. The knight is starting to hit influence here. It also opens up the bishop. It opens up the queen for the diagonal. The queen is open to here, to come down into here if she wants to. So this is a great pawn move. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that pawn move. In fact, it's so good that Reddy took the pawn. He said, all right, I'm willing to take that pawn. I truly am. Now, Tartakover says check. Brings the queen out, drops down here to go check. Now this is kind of a nifty move how Tartakover does this, because in the process of doing check, and Reddy has no choice, he's got a block, he wants to be able to castle, so it helps Reddy in that respect that he is able to develop another bishop and another minor piece, but Tartakover now, because he zipped out this way, can now take that pawn. So this is kind of interesting maneuvering that's going on. Now, look at the board. See, I've told you before, development is a temporary thing. You can be ahead of development like Reddy was and is, but now black's not looking so shabby, is he? And what else is interesting about this position is there aren't a lot of white pawns that can come up here and chase that queen away right off. So the queen has options here. Very, very interesting. If he was to push this pawn to here, say, he could easily come to here, challenging the queen, and if they exchange queens, pop that knight right there, and he's got a base support. That would be a very powerful knight right there. Tartakover would not mind that situation, swapping the queens with that knight. Whoop, sorry, he was right there. So this is a good move. Ready, castles queenside. He still hasn't developed this side. Tartakover hasn't developed his queen side. Ready hasn't developed his king side. Now, the question. Tartakover went ahead and took the knight. Now, they are central knights. They're fighting for the center. As a general rule, these are strong moves. But there is a question mark here. That is not the best move at this point. And don't ask me what it is, because I haven't got a clue. He's actually moving his knight again. And I believe that has to be part of the reason why that's a questionable move. He is attacking too early, and he should have been developing. He should have been bringing out his other knight or his bishop or his other bishop rather than simply attacking. See, look, let's face it, even the Grandmasters are not good enough as a general rule, especially if you ever played Ready, to attack with just two pieces, a queen and a minor piece. That is not an army of attack against the stature of Ready, right? So that's the problem here. What Ready responds like is just electrifying. He comes up here and goes, check. You go, holy cow, Batman! I mean, talk about a lightning bolt. Yeah, check. Well, there's virtually no choice. The king must respond and take the queen. Now, here's another little nifty tactic. And Ready was really excellent with tactics. He dished them out, and he was also on the receiving end of tactics in some of Alekin's games and some of the games with Nimzovich and all that. But watch what he does now. He has a discovered check on the king with this bishop, but notice this. You bring the bishop up here to g5, and it's a double check to the king. Look at that beautiful open file, and what's on the open file? Ta-da! A rook. You see, now Ready has begun to dominate the game through a queen sacrifice. Isn't that interesting? A very interesting queen sacrifice. The only thing he can do is go to c7. Now, the coordination of pieces is really critical to see when you get a superior development. When you're able to get 3 or 4 pieces out there on the board together, they can coordinate excellently. And this is what Ready does. He did this. Checkmate. The reason he didn't go there, of course, because this pawn is in the way, and the rook holds the file. Grandmasters the stature of Tartakover could get trounced in just 11 moves by a Ready, or an Alekin, or a Tal, or a Spassky. So can we. But on the other hand, they also are able to play like this because they systematically develop their pieces. They make the board positions strong for themselves. The open file, the rook, etc. That was probably too quick of a game. Half their armies weren't developed, but because of that open file, this shows you the strength and power of an open file when you have an open center. You see, you notice Tartakover had 2 powers, but there's no pawns cluttering up the middle here. None of White's pawns survived to clutter up the middle, so this is why the bishops can go such long distances and the rooks can go such long distances, because the center is open. There's not a bunch of clutter in it. And that's one reason why this game went so fast. So there's your video game for the day. Have a great life. Enjoy studying. Chess is fun. It's interesting. You can always find fun and interesting games. Play computers yourself. Play opponents yourself. It's a joy to play it. And in the meantime, have fun, and I will see you in the next video.